Good morning, guys. What's going on? So, I have a long sleeve shirt on because I just had a tattoo session yesterday and I'm protecting it because it's very sensitive to the sun. 10 hours straight, not so easy. At 49, I had my longest tattoo session, probably 12 hours when I was around 30, and that was pretty rough. And then we did another day after that, 8 hours, and then another day after that, that was 6 hours. It was a long 3 days, but regardless, this was 10 hours and I am back and I'm sore, so I figure why not do some little video that I was kind of struggling with because I just got a Lite Plus premium bundle and I've been using the Sky app and it has shifted a little bit. It is, what date is it right now? It's July 1st. So it is July 1st, 2022. So essentially this is a Sky app walkthrough, some little bugs that I've been noticing, and just kind of pros and cons to the app so far. It's not going to be super in-depth, but just a realistic getting up and flying and some of the little hurdles that I'm experiencing and that I think could be improved upon by Autel. So as a photographer, certain little things are just kind of not so cool, and we'll get up in the air, do a screen recording, and see what we can come up with. So I got a little hard case right now for the orange Autel EVO Lite Plus Premium Bundle. It fits the filters, another battery. The remote doesn't fit in there. I have a little separate bag for that. And then we have the Lite Plus. So as far as the Lite Plus drone is concerned, I would say it feels a lot more solid, of course, than the Nano and the Nano Plus. This is a little side note. I think Autel 190% should have not come out with a Nano and a Nano Plus and a Lite and a Lite Plus. It was just way too confusing, too many options. They should have had a Nano Plus and a Lite Plus. I think the cost should have been down. Personally, I think the Nano Plus should have been $600, $700 tops. And I'm talking about Nano Plus Premium Bundle. And I think the Lite Plus Premium Bundle should have been around $1,300, $1,350. And that's my feeling in regard to what I think they're actually worth. I don't think this is a $2,000-ish drone or $1,850 or whatever it may come out to be by the time you get Autel Care on it. And ideally, Autel Care will be able to be renewed for 2 years total, similar to Refresh and the Refresh Plus thing with DJI. So Autel, hope you're listening. They just sent the feedback thing, and I put that into the feedback saying ideally Autel Plus can be renewed. But without further ado, the first thing we're going to do when flying the drone, in my opinion, maybe spread out the props so it puts a little less stress on the motors. We're going to, of course, take off the gimbal cover. A lot of people will say clean the obstacle avoidance sensors. You can do that. These are clean. Make sure we have a fresh battery. This battery is probably 80%. I flew it for like 10 minutes yesterday, so should be good enough to do what I need to do, showing you quickly some of the pros and cons and some of the things that I think need to be changed and tweaked in the Sky app. So we have this guy. We'll power it on by depressing the back button, one long hold. There we go. We're going to put it down on the level surface, let the gimbal do its thing with its auto check. We're going to take this guy out. So this is the standard controller for the Nano and the Nano Plus and the Lite and the Lite Plus. I got a Skyfire aerial rig on it, which is really nice. I have this little AGOZ cable, which is also really nice. It's a perfect length and it just works really well. I got an iPhone 13 Pro Max. I'm going to go ahead and raise the brightness and lower the volume a bit because there is no way to disable the audio signals and the audio obstacle avoidance voice in the app, which is really lame. So I'm hoping Autel will address that too. It's a simple on-off thing. We're going to put this phone into the holster. We're going to power on the controller. One long press as well. We're going to plug in the Lightning to USB-C cable. So we're going to get that. We're going to start a screen recording, and we're going to get this little guy up in the air and just kind of walk through quickly some of the things that I've been noticing. And for some reason, let me get out of here. Autel Sky app. I'm going to put this guy a little further away so I don't clip my toes with my props with slippers on. So let me see. So it says safe to fly. That's good to go. We got it in standard mode, not smooth or ludicrous. I would not take off in ludicrous mode ever, because you'll most likely have your obstacle avoidance sensors disabled, and you just don't want to take off in that mode or sport mode. It's just not good practice. You could easily switch into that mode after the fact, after you're in the air. So fly in standard mode and take off in standard mode, I should say. So we're going to go ahead and get this in the air, but right now you can see it says safe to fly. If I tap that, it says maximize your phone volume for notifications. I actually turn mine down because I don't want to hear everything. I could read, so I don't need to hear it. Kind of gets distracting to me. We're going to see I got 67% battery, so enough for a little tutorial. And we'll get this guy in the air by bringing the sticks inward and down. And there we go.
Home point has been refreshed.
Here's the drone. And we'll take off and make sure still screen recording. And get this guy out of the way so I don't hear it. But if you see, so we got the top upper left, we have that little A. And that A will get us back to the screen. So the screen essentially is our profile. We have a little skill center, which I'm not going to get into. And then we have, one more second, the album, which we can download some of the images to. And that's really it. So I'm going to get into start, get back into the main flying screen. And some of the things I've noticed, so yesterday, for example, when I was flying, I had all my grids enabled. I had the histogram enabled. The grids appear to still be there. If I go tap the top upper right settings icon, I'm going to go to camera, and you're going to see the grid is all enabled because they're in blue. My histogram isn't for some reason. So things just reset themselves. I'm not sure why. Like they turn off essentially. So my histogram always turns off every time I take off and start a new flight or change the battery, for example. So Autel has to look into that. For some reason, the histogram gets turned off, and a lot of times the grid lines get turned off as well. So you got to reset certain parameters, which is just not great because you just have to redo stuff every time you're in the air. And sometimes you just forget, or you don't want to go into it and waste energy and battery. So hopefully they can look into that little thing. We're going to go into, say we're going to go and take a picture. Let's just go and fly for real. Nothing really amazing to take pictures of. Good skies yesterday. We'll go to this little gazebo down the way. Nice calm water. Maybe we can get some little reflections or clouds. The zoom over there to the left is shoot. One time is normal, of course, so not bad. 2 is not too bad. And mind you, again, if you're shooting JPEG, this is how it's going to capture it. It's going to capture it like this and in a pretty bad quality. I wouldn't use 4x if you're just shooting JPEG only. But again, if you see, if I get the top upper right setting icon and I go in the camera, I have it set to JPEG plus RAW. So right over here, photo, JPEG plus RAW. If you have it set to JPEG, you're going to basically only get what you see at that 8x, but if you shoot JPEG plus RAW, essentially the RAW file will be an unzoomed image. So if I zoom in right here, the RAW is going to look like this. So it's basically just zooming in for you in the app. So it's basically just zooming in for you, and with the JPEG only, it will capture the JPEG, and RAW, it will just capture the image as shot. It won't look like this again. So we're going to go ahead and get a little closer. And right now we got, okay, we have the shooting mode. So we have quick shot right to the left of the shutter button. We got track. I don't use track. I haven't used this yet. Quick shot I used, and I actually did not have good results. I used it when I was with my mom. It kept on losing me right away and stopping the quick shot. So I don't know. I got to do a tutorial essentially on that and do a little review. But to me, the time I tried to use it, and it was a pretty simple setting, it didn't do well. Portrait I'm not going to utilize that often. Shoot is, of course, your shooting mode for stills and videos now. Hyperlapse, pano, and night. To me, night is a waste of space. I have not seen, I don't even know what 1 means, or 2, but to me it looks like crap. So I don't know, I tried a bunch of times and it did not fare well. So night to me could be eliminated, but at the very least, pro was an option down here. I don't know if it was in place in night or something, but in my opinion, they should have an auto setting and they should have a pro setting. To get this thing, if I go back to shooting mode, so I go to shoot, right now I'm in auto, if you see in the bottom right-hand corner. Of course, this iPhone 13 Pro, for some reason with the Sky app, is the only app that makes this iPhone 13 Pro Max force dim on me, which is kind of annoying and making me have to really think about a smart controller maybe with one of these drones. But I don't even know if the smart controller works on these. I know it works on the version 2 and the version 1 EVO 2 Pros, but regardless, let me know in the comments below if you know if the smart controller works with the Lite series drones. And we're going to see right now, again, auto mode. So if I click auto, it doesn't just give you a toggle to pro mode, which is what it should do at the very least. So if I hit auto, it's going to just give me the camera settings. So right now I got white balance set to auto. Say I want to set it to sunny. Okay, I set it to sunny. Am I out of auto mode? Oh, okay, it put me in the pro mode. So maybe that is something. Let me go back to auto again. I'm going to depress that again. Let me go over here and just change the aperture and toggle out. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, well that's good. It only allows you to change one setting and then it will throw you into pro mode. For some reason, I was having to change all the settings to get it to toggle in the pro mode before. So maybe I was doing something wrong. Let me try it again. I'm going to depress the bottom area. So let me go and change this. Yeah, okay. So that's all you need to do is change one setting and it will essentially do what you need to do. I can't see my display right now, which is really lame because it's force dimming on me. So I'm flying this guy back. Where are you, drone? So that was a big part of my tutorial, was talking about the shooting mode. But apparently, I still think Autel should put a separate pro and an auto mode here just to make it simpler, because it just is, and it maybe will save your settings. But again, if I toggle that pro button, it will throw it back into auto mode. Let me bring this drone back closer so I can see. Where are you, drone? How high am I? I'm only 39 feet up. Okay, that's not good. I got to be careful. 39 feet is tree death zone. So we're going to bring this guy back. I can see it and it's safe, even though I can barely see my display on my 13 Pro Max. And it's not that hot out, sir, you're aware. It's only probably...
RC.
Oop, let me see. It's 77 out and it's not even sunny, it's overcast. So Autel, also pay attention to that. I talked to Autel support about this, and I believe there's something with the Autel Sky app that's actually triggering the iPhone to not work optimized in a way that it's forcing it to dim. And I talked to Autel support, as I said, and they kind of confirmed that. So they sent it to the engineers. But every time I'm in my Autel Sky app, it force dims almost immediately, no matter what I'm doing. Even if I'm not full brightness, even if the phone isn't hot, even if it's not that hot out. So something's going on. I haven't experienced this with the Fly app or the Go 4 app or the Explorer app. What else is there? Let me try to see. I'm going to lower my brightness just to see if this actually helps with the screen going back to full bright. If we toggle above the shutter button, that will go into video mode. And shoot is essentially the mode you're going to be in for taking photos and taking stills. So you just got to be conscious of the auto and the pro mode. Pro is going to give you full manual settings. Auto is going to basically give you the only option to control exposure compensation over here by saying maybe -7, all -7 tenths of an exposure or of f-stop is basically making it darker. So minus is darker, plus is brighter. So if I go -3, you're going to see how dark it gets. If I go +3, it's going to get that much brighter. It's essentially, that's it. Plus number brighter, minus number darker. We're going to zero it out again, which is neutral, and go from there. So you could actually bracket that way, but if you're going to bracket, you don't want to do that in auto mode, because if it changes your aperture, it will change your depth of field. You want to bracket with your shutter speed ideally, so your f-stop stays the same. So if you're shooting at f8, bracket not with your ISO, because it will introduce noise. Bracket with your shutter speed only. But you can see right here, you can tap that button above the area for stills and photo, that little 2 line, and you can see I'm set at 6K, 24 frames per second. I'm not in log color. I could be, but I'm not going to be. And that's how I normally shoot, is 6K normal color, 24 frames a second. And again, if I go to photo mode, we can tap that. We're gonna go into our single shot, burst, timer, auto, exposure, bracket. And again, if you're in pro mode, you can't use the bracket feature. So be conscious of that one as well. And really that's about it. I mean, I think the layout could be a little better. I personally still think they should keep some kind of auto and pro mode in this little section, maybe below night, put a pro at the very least, because it seems to always want to default in shoot mode to auto. So if that's the case, still allow it to toggle in the pro, but have a separate pro feature so you can just actually hit it and be in pro manual settings only. And I think that will be a good option for improving this app. And that's kind of it. So if you go back into the top upper right hand corner and hit the settings icon, you can see safety really quickly. You have a novice mode. So if you're beginning to this will basically allow you to fly in the simplest settings. Right now it can't be set there because I have altitude set to super high and it's kind of in pro crazy setting mode. So with that being said, that is an option if you're beginning out flying. Keep the novice mode enabled to just limit you to get used to the drone and the flying characteristics of the drone and gain confidence until you kind of feel ready to toggle that thing off. Control really quickly, just so you know, make sure you have it set to your units based on where you're at and what you're comfortable reading. Command stick will most likely always be mode 2. Flight mode, these are our different flight modes, so we can set the parameters. I keep smooth more dialed down as I can, so it's super cinematic and super slow. Standard is just that, kind of like a medium average, and ludicrous you use just to kind of get super fast. I never use ludicrous to fly cinematically. You can, but you would have to dial in the settings accordingly. And again, with that, you really want, ideally, for Autel to come out with something that has a gimbal pitch speed smoothness setting and a smoothness setting for the aircraft turn speed. So that should hopefully be in an upcoming update. And then we have the EXP, so we can have these settings set. I keep mine to 0.20. That's a good starting point if you're wanting to have more cinematic settings, so be aware of that. And what else is there that kind of may be important? Keep your gimbal mode stabilized. You can make sure your RC, your remote control, is calibrated over here. I keep my little enable gimbal pitch adjustment toggled on. This little start thing is if you want to adjust your gimbal in the air. If you say, for example, your horizon isn't level, I'm going to hit finish and get out of there. And then what else is there? And then you can do gimbal calibration, the auto calibration, and I would suggest doing this before each flight because it will just give you the confidence that your gimbal is going to be as ready as it is to go and you won't have any fussing. So do the auto calibration on a flat level surface before you actually start flying. And camera, this is where you can format your memory card. It's going to show you your storage, your internal storage, your grid. Keep your grid enabled. That would be my suggestion. Photo format, keep it to JPEG plus RAW. Maybe you want to set a JPEG for certain I don't know. I would keep it to JPEG plus RAW always. And really that's it. Histogram, see it got toggled off again for some reason. I'm going to put that back on. So again, Autel, make sure you address that little bug where the histogram keeps on getting turned off. And really that's going to be about it for now. I don't want to get too into it. I actually have to go somewhere soon. So before it rains, have a good 4th of July weekend. Fly safe. If you're flying around fireworks, make sure you know the laws in your area. Make sure there's no TFR or anything enabled. So again, be careful. Not worth the shot just to take someone out or take your drone out. So with that being said, happy 4th, guys. Peace. Bye.